In this video, we're going to look at the alien issue. We had this Miami alien incident in which 3 8-foot aliens were seen in a mall. Now, the witnesses say that they were in the store, they heard a commotion outside, they heard fireworks, everybody rushed out, and then everybody was rushing out of the store, the mall, and they saw these shadowy aliens. Now, there was hundreds and hundreds of police cars in attendance, and the eyewitnesses, their account sounds convincing. So it does seem that they saw something, and what they describe sounds a bit like a hologram. Was this some kind of test on the public, some kind of blue beam hologram technology on the public? And is this why the police were right there at the same time? It seems in these UFO incidents, you always have the military and the police ready, so they kind of know what's coming in advance. Or could these actually be real aliens, real interdimensional aliens? And is it connected with all the events that are going on? Or is it one huge kind of psyop that, in order to create Zion, this kind of one world control, we will need this alien invasion to bring the world together? So it's part of this plan of bringing the world together, where we have this outside threat. So the evidence of the eyewitnesses sounds convincing and sounds consistent. And there's been so much disinformation and fake videos put out that there seems to be something about this. My own opinion is that it's some kind of hologram technology which they have trialed in public. And this is similar to Orson Welles when he was on the radio and he was reading War of the Worlds, and he had this broadcast that aliens were invading and people believed it. And this seems similar to that. Now, it's interesting, the description of the aliens was that they were 8 feet tall. Now, if we go to the 1984 Olympics, we have a 7'8" tall alien. That's nearly 8 foot. And he ends the ceremony of the 1984 Olympic Games.
Celebrating the best that humanity has to offer. You call it the Olympic Games. And for that, and for the cities which have kept the Olympic ideal alive, I salute you.
Now, it was the 1984 legislation that the UK Parliament used to enforce lockdowns. And the Crown Bug Act was the 1984 legislation. And in the 2012 Olympics, we had the advert for the Olympic Games were UFOs and aliens for the 2012 Olympics. And the logo spelt Zion, also for the Beijing Olympics. So in 1984, we had this 8-foot alien. Now, we had the Roswell incident in 1947, and it crashed next to a place called Corona. And the official crash site is called the Corona Debris Site. After this Roswell incident, they, within a space of 6 years or 7 years, they had created the microchip. Now, we have a famous X-Files episode, notice the X, which seems to be some kind of magic symbol, where the character says that the US government has been mixing human and alien DNA. Mulder. And he says, then he goes on to explain how there is a scenario similar to the Crown Bug. And then further into the program, the X-Files, they say that humans have been injected with some kind of DNA that destroys their immune system, and it's been done covertly. So you have that plot in the X-Files. It's a famous clip. You can't show it on YouTube. And Mulder explains that they've combined alien and human DNA. It seems connected to the Crown and the Corona. The Crown is the Crown of England, the Masonic Crown, but it's also connected to your crown chakra and the all-seeing eye. So we have Zion here. In the 2012 Olympics, they had a song which featured a UFO, and the advert for the games featured UFOs invading London. Now, the Temple of Solomon was on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and the ceremony for the Olympic Games was a crown bug ritual. The stadium looked like a crown bug. You had pyramids with all seeing eyes. You had a Grim Reaper character chasing kids. You have NHS. You had a rising phoenix at the end, which was very similar to Aleister Crowley's OTO. Aleister Crowley contacted an alien called Lam. And you had that at the end. You had the rising phoenix, which seems to indicate some kind of rebirth. You had one of the mascots, which had an all-seeing eye, which was based on the water sign, on the sign Aquarius, indicating that, indicating the new age of Aquarius. So it seems all connected. And in the ceremony, they celebrated the works of William Shakespeare. And of course, the first man to get it was called William Shakespeare. The Tsar was from Stratford-upon-Avon. That's Shakespeare country, Nadim Zahawi. I've explained how the emergency alert is on St. George's Day, and Shakespeare was born and died on that day. And the ceremony was also celebrating the Industrial Revolution, which created this great age. And the Paralympics celebrated transhumanism. They were called superhumans. Now, in the opening ceremony, you have 007 with the Queen. And they've come into the stadium. Now, 10 years later, the Queen dies on her Jubilee. Now, 007 was the code name for John Dee. John Dee and Francis Bacon are the Rose Cross, and they are the secret writers of Shakespeare. They are the editors. And Shakespeare, you shake it before you spear it. And Shakespeare is about getting rid of the lower self. And St. George and St. Michael slay the dragon, slay the lower self. So they want to ascend to this kind of higher state of human, where they are closer to God. And so we have John Dee and Shakespeare celebrated in the Olympic Games, and then Caliban, which is a demonic character, gives a speech, Kenneth Branagh, how glorious it is to build Jerusalem in this land, Zion in this land, how this country is the main propellant of it. And of course, Caliban comes from the play The Tempest, where you have a magician, Prospero and Ariel, which is on the BBC building, which is a symbol of child abuse. And Prospero was based on John Dee. And Shakespeare was the first member of Royal Arch Freemasonry. And this all connects to Zion and the Temple of Solomon. And you can see that the Masons and the Rosicrucians are behind these events. And it seems to be connected with extraterrestrials or other dimensional beings. Or is it all a psyop in order to create this one world government or new world? Because I don't believe it will be like the World Economic Forum. I believe that is part of the psyop, but that the answer they give, this new age, is the new world, is kind of the new world that they're